Would be him that's breathing, I can assure you. Yeah, that should be good. Okay.
Better?
Ready? Okay, ready on time? In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay,
Let's get this party started.
welcome everybody. This is Final Fantasy 1 for the PlayStation Portable. Now, Jasper is right off the bat going to go into one of the main glitches of the game, and pretty much the main thing that'll make the game as quick as it is. He's going to attempt an equipment glitch here, which is basically going to allow him to transform certain items into a different item. So he bought a hammer just now, and the ID of a hammer corresponds with the ID of the knight's armor, which is the second most expensive piece of armor in the game. I think only beaten by the ruby armlet, if I'm not mistaken. So with that, he has a ton of money. Not to mention, he will also immediately have a lot of defense on every single character. So now, being less than 50 seconds into the game, he has immense defenses, he's got a ton of money, he's got more than enough healing items for the majority of the game. And, well, we can pretty much just get this party started.
Yeah, had a bit of nervous spaghetti there, but we should be doing much better in the next menu. There's a bit of spaghetti there in the menu, and just movement in general. But otherwise, that was basically fine.
So yeah, he talked to the king, and basically the princess has gone missing. And since the princess has gone missing, he as the warrior of light, has been asked to save the princess. So he's going to go to Chaos' shrine in present day, where he's going to look for Garland, who apparently holds the princess captured. This is also showing off right away the main RNG point of the run. Each of these encounters is completely random. Each encounter can be both preemptive, as we've seen before, an ambush, or just a regular encounter. Depending on how quickly you can run from them, and depending on whether or not they will actually...
That was a pretty average encounter rate, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Depending on whether or not they're ambushes or preemptives, it can make things a little easier.
There we go.
So yeah, the basic gist of it is that every preemptive encounter is a guaranteed run, whereas every ambush, it's guaranteed that every other encounter is going to go first. Now, what he did just there in the menu is that he got the Judgment Staffs, and the Judgment Staff basically gives him the strongest staff in the game. As a side effect, it can cast Flare, which is incredibly powerful, being the most powerful black magic spell in the game. On top of which, now that he has it, it gives him a good early game weapon. Normally you'd get that in one of the bonus dungeons in Lifespring Grotto by beating Atomos, but that's quite a bit further into the game, so, you know, it's nice to get it this early.
So yeah, hold X simulator basically for that boss fight.
Yeah, that was Garland, the first boss of the game, and with that we save the princess, and you know, we can go back to the king, get a reward. Check.
So this loot I just picked up. Basically, PSP, if I walk out of that door, the princess will actually call me back for that loot, because you need that loot to open a place in the Chaos Shrine in the past. So basically the final dungeon in the entire game. In the NES version of this game, the game doesn't actually tell you need that loot, so it doesn't call you back, and it actually just has you find it at the end of the game where you don't even realize. Also, as Cruel likes to point out, look at the builder in the bottom left of your screen there. He is very eager to work on this bridge here. And as you're going to find out by the next text box, he has no idea what's going on, and he wants to know what this bridge even has to do with the prophecy. And the answer is even better. The Warriors of Light are here, which is a perfectly valid reason to rebuild a bridge, apparently. I mean,
Yeah, had the king actually given us a ship, it would have sped up the game by quite a bit. We would have saved roughly 6 minutes, I want to say, just on side questing around for that.
basically, yeah.
So yeah, now that Jasper stepped onto the bridge, we're actually going to get into the cutscene that tells the entire story of the game. Basically, the idea is that he has to gather the 4 crystals of light, through which he can through which he can go into the past in Chaos' Shrine and stop Chaos entirely. So we're gonna have to quest around getting those 4 crystals, starting off with the Crystal of Earth. Now, an interesting side bit about that particular cutscene is that it is only skippable in the PSP version. In every other version, including like the GBA and PSX version, you have to sit out that cutscene entirely. That cutscene in and of itself is about 1.5 minutes, so being able to skip it speeds it up quite a bit. So yeah, we're moving here towards Provoca, and in Provoca we're going to get that ship, because as I mentioned just now, if the king had given us a ship, it would have been quite a bit faster. We need some way to travel around, because this part of the world is kind of small.
So yeah, let's show these pirates how boss these actual staffs are we just got.
Yeah, so these are 9 pirates, and you'd imagine that'd be quite the boss to beat. I mean, there is freaking 9 of them.
Whoops.
So we use the Judgment Staff as an item here, basically casting the player.
You might want to turn those speakers down, as in off.
So yeah, by having cast Flare, we're pretty much done with the fight.
So we obtain a ship because this pirate is like, I don't have staff to run this ship anymore anyway, so there you go. Let's see if this NPC gets in my way again. Yup.
Now the ship actually has a bit of a mini game that we could make use of. There is a 15 puzzle game which has a 1 in 6 chance to drop a emergency exit, an item that would save us about 1 minute over the course of the run. The problem is trying to get it costs about 1 minute as well, and it's only a 1 in 6 drop, so for general runs, it's generally just not worth it to get it. Even the world record run at the moment does not have the emergency exit.
This encounter rate is kind of high, but at least most of them are pretty much instant runs.
Yeah, an interesting thing about when we're sailing around, the chances of finding an encounter that won't let you run are actually fairly high, as both Sahagins and sharks are hard to run from.
These wolves, though.
The wolves are another example of very hard to run encounters. The thing is, we have a lot of defenses, but we don't actually have anything that helps us run away from encounters. We will be getting that at some point, but it's too early in the game for us to be able to get that. The only item that would give us a slight benefit is too far out of the way right now to actually obtain.
If this run yeah, I was gonna say if this. Wow. Okay, 2 tile. Good job. Thank you, game. Of course, you have to prove the point.
So yeah, basically in this area, Jasper is waiting to get poisoned. He needs to heal his characters at some point. And ideally, we want to do that when we're poisoned, just to save a little bit of menuing. It doesn't really make a difference. It saves like a second, but it's just one of those minor optimizations.
I forgot that was actually a thing for a second, even though I figured that out last time.
Yeah, that's actually one of the strats you came up with to save a minor bit of time.
Yeah, and I completely forgot about it because that's how much I've run this game.
So yeah, in a glitchless run, the amount of ogres he's getting would actually be really helpful, as they give quite a bit of experience, but due to that equipment glitch, we don't really need any levels.
Not for a long while anyway, and we have a really good grinding section. Somewhere along, I'd say, the middle of the game? No,
yeah, about halfway through the game. You might want to heal now,
Yeah, I was about to.
So we're just healing up to full here. By the point we get to the 1 grinding section in the game, which is about 45 minutes into the run, we actually do need the warrior and the thief to both be below 75 HP. But they generally take enough damage that they'll get that to that kind of point at some point anyway, so, you know, not to worry there.
Good HP rolls for now, actually. Even the Black Mage is going up into the hundreds.
Yeah.
Already.
An interesting thing here is how the HP develops. A very important thing near the end of the fight is that both the Black Mage and Thief have about 200 health at least. Ideally, you want them to be above 250 or 275 respectively.
Oh. I need to fix that, so. That's fine.
So we got 2 Pisco Demons here. The Pisco Demons is kind of a mini-boss. The tile in front of this chest is a spiked tile, so he will always get this encounter.
Can I get a time check, by the way? Like, now?
Just under 10 minutes.
Okay, so I'm like 30 seconds short.
You're on a normal pace.
Yeah, exactly. So my people. Oh wow. Okay, that bat usually never gets in my way. I didn't expect him there. Like this bat up here, I expect to be in my way, so I'm going right for safety. But okay. Hello. So yeah, as I was saying, my PB has a crown at 9:30. So being just shy of 10 minutes means I'm basically 30 seconds behind, but
I mean, a 10-minute crown is a very average time.
not bad. Nice
So yeah,
ambush.
now that we have the crown, I guess I might as well explain why we're actually even getting the crown to begin with. So, we need, like I said, we kind of wanted to get the Crystal of Earth, which is the first crystal we're going to get to. It's also the only mandatory crystal to get in a specific order. You have to get that one first. But in order to get there, we need to get to Melmond, which we can only get to by ship if we make a canal. There's this little piece of land blocking our way. Now, we can get that canal to open up, but the dwarves that are doing that, they need the nitro powder in order to do just that, which is in the castle of that greedy king we helped at the start, who only built that bridge for us. So he's not going to get us that. So we could open the door, though. We could steal it from him. I mean, we're saving the world, so I mean, it would kind of make sense that, you know, it's a necessary evil, so to speak. And in order to do that, we need the Mystic Key. And in order to get the Mystic Key, we need to get to the Elven Prince.
Nice. Good job.
Nice.
Thank you, Astos.
Astos can cast Death, which can make this a 2-turn fight. Him not doing that generally saves a turn. If he does use Death on on either the Warrior or Thief, we'd generally still be fine. But it very much depends on the rolls there.
White Mage roll. What the hell?
Yeah, that was a really good roll on the White Mage. That's practically a max roll.
Yeah. Last time I was practicing, I actually got a crit on both the Thief and the Warrior, and then I actually got max roll White Mage. So I still killed Astos, even though he killed my Black Mage. That was very interesting.
Yeah, that's very rare to happen. But yeah, as I was saying, we needed to get the Mystic Key from the elves. But the problem is the Elven Prince, he's asleep right now. He's under some sleeping curse. And we can only wake him up if we get the Jolt Tonic. Which is fine, because Matoya is very willing to give it to us. But she's blind because she lost her eye, the Mystic Eye that we just got from Astos. Now, Astos, he wouldn't actually fight us unless we give him the crown. Because with both the eye and the crown, he would get ultimate power. He would become the true Elven King, which is his ultimate goal. So, you know, now that we've had the crown, we could bring that to Astos, get the key, get the Jolt Tonic, go to the Elven Prince, get the Mystic Key to get the Nitro Powder so we can actually progress the game. You know, as you might be able to tell, this part of the game is just one giant fetch quest all over the place.
Welcome to the NES era of basically RPGs. Get items. Get progression. The game.
So yeah, now that we have that, we're going to sail past our hometown real quick, and we're going to go to Matoya so that we can get that Jolt Tonic that we talked about. Now, we can't luckily park right over there. You'd think, you know, if the encounters on the sea are that bad, why wouldn't you take the land? But the encounter rate on the sea is a lot better than it is on land, so that is a lot faster than going there by land. Also, you saw Jasper park all the way at the end of the dock there. The reason he does that is that the dock tiles themselves cannot actually spawn encounters. A German runner called Nikki Noel, she discovered that fairly recently. She's mostly a glitchless runner of this game. And she discovered that those tiles don't actually spawn encounters. So even though the movement is slightly slower, we skip 2 encounter checks, which on average saves just a little bit of time.
How'd she even discover it?
I have no idea, honestly.
Maybe trying to farm encounters and standing on the sea tile?
Possibly. I don't know.
It's the only thing I can think of, honestly. That was a misstep, but we're fine.
Yeah, that was considered a misstep because J4sp3rr there took an extra tile of forest, and the encounter rate in the forest is actually slightly higher than it is on plains. So ideally we want to avoid forests if all possible. If we have to go out of the way for it, it's not worth it, but if it's not out of the way, we just take
If this doesn't run turn 1, I'm just gonna kill it.
Yeah, this is a nasty encounter. So yeah, the big eyes have a chance to paralyze characters. The Sahagins make it incredibly hard to run. Plenty of runs have died on this encounter.
Please.
We're actually about to get the item that'll help us run away from enemies, but we don't get that just yet.
Please get a turn in. Hello? Thank you.
Yeah, the high agility of the Sahagins usually also just makes them go first, which makes this even worse.
There we go. At least everything died in one turn. Or in one attack. That was quite an encounter.
That's quite a bit off right there, but it's fine.
I went a bit overboard with the... I
we'll
tried to go diagonal and I went a
Yeah.
bit overboard. But
We'll call that RNG manip for no encounters, I guess.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, we're entering the castle on the right there so that we don't have to go around. You can actually enter on that specific tile, and we're going to talk to the governor or something. I don't know what he exactly is.
I
But
would guess he's a nurse.
yeah, possibly. He
Probably
seems like
a she
more when you,
even.
he seems like more though when you talk to him. It doesn't really matter. But
if
anyway,
it's
the
the
Jewel
house
Tonic,
nurse, I mean.
it happens to work, and the Elven Prince gets woken up. Now we're leaving the castle on the left here because it actually saves a couple of steps, and we're re-entering to get the next big item in the game, which is the Mithril Hammer. Now, the hammer itself isn't too useful, but what we can glitch of it is very much
Whoa.
a thing. Oh, you got the rare drop from Astos, I think, then. So yeah, normally that mithril armor isn't actually or crystal mail isn't actually there. You get that if you get the rare drop from Astos, and it pretty much messes up this menu. But the mithril hammer, it glitches into the thief's armlet, and what that does is, even though it doesn't actually up our defenses, the thief's armlets allow us to get an additional 5 agility for each of them we have equipped. Now, the agility stat is basically what's used to check how easily you can run from encounters, so adding 15 agility to every character makes running a lot easier. We're also getting some gold needles here, and that's just to help us with petrification later on.
Whoopsie.
Hopefully we won't actually need to use any of them, but
what am I doing?
at times we do. In the next dungeon, there is an encounter called the Cockatrice, and they can petrify on hit. So if we happen to encounter them, that's what we'll need to do to get rid of that. And with that, we're going back into the original castle, Cornelia, and we're going to get that nitro powder that we were talking about.
So this shark would normally be quite dangerous to run from, should be first or second try now, because of all the thieves' armlets.
Yeah, you saw how easy that was, even though sharks are normally not that easy to run from. So yeah, we're going around, we're going to get into the treasury here, and we're going to get the nitro powder, which is going to allow us to progress the game. So yeah, it's on to Mount Duragar. So yeah, had the king given us a ship and the nitro powder instead of that bridge, we could have skipped pretty much all of this and just gone for Mount
20
Duragar right
minutes
off the bat.
saved, basically. In before we find some no clip to get into that room, Keepa.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Man, that would mean we only need to get to the pirates.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we're going to get into Mount Duragar, and we're going to talk to a dwarf there. Basically, they've been building this canal, but they're kind of stuck, and these explosives are going to help them actually break through the wall. Now, interestingly enough, the nitro powder was actually just called TNT in the original version. So, you know, it pretty much says enough as to what it does. So yeah, all of these dwarves are not too interesting. We're just immediately going for their
Nice,
leader.
Perfect movement there. Looks fairly easy, but getting that perfectly without bumping into any wall is quite hard. Especially because the PSP has a bit of input delay for some weird-ass reason.
So yeah, we're gonna get a bit of a weird cutscene here. Much like the cutscene we got when we got on top of the bridge, we're gonna get a similar cutscene where we can skip a bit of it by just mashing through it. Again, it's only possible to do that on the PSP version. Now, if you would actually explore Mount Duragar, there's actually a lot of useful items here. They've got cottages, tents, they even have the Worm Killer, which is a pretty good sword. Tons of money, which is all very useful for the glitchless run, but considering we have very good equipment, you know, we should be fine. Although, I would say we could probably use a sword at this point. We're still using a staff.
Man, I'd rather use gloves. I just like punching people in the face.
Oh, that's fair. You know what? We should check in the next town, see if they have something.
I think they have some pretty cheap gloves that should do the trick quite fine.
Let's see. That seems interesting enough.
And I mean, if we ever want a sword, we can always just melt them down and make them into swords, right?
That seems fair.
Ooh, hello, dwarf. Hello, double dwarf. What the heck? Those usually don't get in your way that much.
One of them usually does, but two back-to-back is somewhat uncommon.
Yeah, usually it's only the first one that tends to get in my way. The second one I've never seen get there.
So yeah, now that the canal is actually opened up, we can actually go to Melmond. You'll see soon enough when we enter the city that pretty much the earth around there is rotten. The crystal has lost its light, and we need to restore that. So let us do just that. We're
Don't.
nice
do that.
parking. But yeah, we're gonna get that glove. I think that seems like a good idea.
Apparently.
So they have some steel gloves around here, which if we glitch them, turns into the barbarian sword. Now the barbarians.
Oh, hello. That might be
Go
bad.
to white mage for that.
Yeah, I was about to.
Because you want to also glitch it back anyway. There we go. So yeah, the Barbarian Sword is by far the most powerful sword in the game. It has about 3 times the base power of Excalibur. You know, sword you may have heard of at some point. On top of which, it also gives a strength boost of 15, making it by far the most powerful sword in the game. Interestingly enough, again, it's a sword that is only available in the PSP version, and I think the mobile version, but I'm not sure on that one.
Who even runs on mobile, honestly?
That's true. But yeah, the sword you would normally obtain by beating the hardest version of Chronodia, the super boss of this game. So normally you'd have to beat all of the dungeons, get all of 4 of the crystals, go into the hardest dungeon in the game, the Labyrinth of Time, beat that by finishing every puzzle without fail, and then you'd be able to fight Chronodia, which would then give you that sword.
So this sword is basically useless in the base game.
In the base game, pretty much, because by the point you can get to Chronodia, you pretty much are more than powerful enough to beat Chaos.
And this sword is actually not the best in slot for any class, which is also quite interesting. Because the warrior, the thief, the white mage, and the black mage, they all have way different best in slots. Mainly because they're not actually supposed to wear these. I mean, the warrior can, but he has weapons that actually are more useful in the general consensus.
Yeah, the sword would be, for casual players, it'd be a nice reward if you have a warrior. It's a very powerful sword for your warrior. But other than the warrior, it's not really too useful, and it's quite a bit to go through. Now, as Jasper enters floor 3, you'll see him take the first safety save of the run. Basically, what the reason he does that is on this floor we can encounter those cockatrices that we mentioned. And what can happen is that 3 of those happen to ambush you, petrifying all of your characters before you even have a chance to run. In which case it'd just be game over right there. The Pisco demons he just encountered, much like that mini boss we saw before, it was considered a mini boss earlier. So what the programmers did is they just flagged it as unrunnable. So that earlier you wouldn't be able to run from it, but since it's a regular encounter here, we also have to kill it off. It's the first example of an unrunnable encounter in the game. We'll be seeing a few more of those as we go along.
Yeah, these swords, they kind of hit.
Yeah.
I mean...
They seem powerful, but, I mean, we haven't really tried them on a boss yet.
Yeah, that's fair, but, I mean, vampires are kind of weak to begin with, so...
Vampire isn't too powerful a boss, but let's see how well these swords hold out on the vampire. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're about to get to the vampire, which is another one of those mini bosses. Normally, if you want to get to Lich, which is the first major boss of the game, you just have to finish this dungeon. The problem is there is a stone slab blocking our path.
Well, that was hard.
Ooh, that seemed like you just clutched that fight, didn't you?
Definitely. Ooh, yeah, baby. Oh, I almost forgot to get the crystal.
So yeah, the Star Ruby around here, if we want to get through that stone slab that I mentioned, we need the Earth Rod. Which,
I was about to run out,
the sage
actually.
that holds it is very willing to give it to us. Problem is there's a giant blocking the way, and he's hungry. Now, we all know giants eat stones, especially rubies, so we're going to give him that Star Ruby
Hello?
just so that we can get him out of the way.
Okay.
Okay.
Where the hell are you?
Okay,
There we go.
we're fine. So yeah, one thing that can happen here, as uncommon as it may be, is that these kind of enemies can paralyze every single one of your characters. The problem with paralysis is that it stacks. So, Judgment Staff full party.
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
faster.
Whoa. Oh, fuck. Should be fine.
But yeah, the paralysis, it actually stacks, and if all 4 of them get paralyzed, that means you can just infinitely get locked in paralysis, which can be very, very bad. It's luckily very rare to actually happen, especially if you play careful by flaring like J4sp3rr did there. But it's definitely a risk to watch out for. So yeah, with floor 3 behind us once more, we're back into a safe zone. Like, there's not much bad that can happen around here. It's just a clean walk towards the earth rod.
Okay. Just trying to enjoy the music game. Please let me. I shouldn't have said anything. We're about to get another encounter in 2000. Okay. Hey, I proved it wrong. Good. This game really likes to prove me wrong a lot. Ha! Of course. Of course it's an ambush too. This game, dude. Okay, nice poison as well. So,
you might want to heal up both of the mages
yeah,
while you're at it.
exactly. Good HP roll still.
So yeah, one
honestly.
little trick that you might not have noticed just now, but as he used the antidote, and he does that on potions as well, instead of just using them, he actually mashes through it. Basically what it does is because you use another item, immediately after that item, it cancels the animation. So it skips a couple animations there, which saves a good couple seconds over the course of the run. Again, that's a little thing that's only possible in PSP, because in every other version, you actually have to sit through that. And once you start using potions in the PSX version, it gets interesting, I'll say that much. So yeah, we give the Star Ruby to the giant over here, and that'll allow us to progress to the Earth Rod.
Enjoy Resident Sleeper %.
Yeah, we actually have to wait for the giant to walk out, even though there's not really anything he can walk towards because the cave ends there.
Well, I mean, maybe he filled up the hole in the wall.
He might have, yeah. I guess that would explain it.
Hello, shadows. Okay, if a shadow ambushes you, basically that you just confirmed the game actually hates you.
Yeah, so the shadows are an interesting encounter in that they can only be preemptive or ambush. Now, in the PSP and the GBA version of the game, the likelihood of it being preemptive is way bigger than it to be ambush. In the NES and PSX version, however, it's the other way around. Basically, because of that concept, we marked the shadow ambush as a sign that the game officially hates you, because it's very unlikely for you to actually get it.
Fun fact, I've had one in basically every run I've ever done.
Yeah, I mean, over the course of a run, it's very likely to see one, but in general, out of all the shadow encounters that you get, usually they should always just be preemptive. From the top of my head, I think it's roughly an 80-20 split, but I'm not completely
So
sure
it's
on
only
that
right 80% of the time. Keep up. It's preemptive, but I'm about to get two-tailed. Okay.
So yeah, now that we have all of this fetch questing out of the way for a little while, it's time we actually start moving. So we're going to go to the to Lich, and we're gonna see if we can beat him and purify the first of the crystals.
I
mean, we've been in the game for about half an hour now, so it's about time we started doing just that. So nice 7 encounter ambush right there.
Yeah. I mean, how many wolves are we even on? I'm gonna guess about 45 or something.
Yeah, in one run, I actually counted how many wolves I got, and I almost got to 100 wolves over the course of a run. And wolves are they're just the worst encounter possible.
Even with agility upgrades, they are still a pain to run from. It dropped my up input. Nice. Probably
So
did it too soon.
for those that have missed it, because they just came in, we're going to go through Cavern of Earth a second time. This time the vampire won't be in the way and we can actually progress further into it, but, you know, we'll just do that all over again.
Okay, Minotaurs are not hard to run from, game. Please confirm that.
You might just want to kill it, honestly. It's one Minotaur.
Heck?
I mean, a single Minotaur is as fast to kill as a second try run. So.
Oh, sure, but this game just needs to stop screwing with me. Honestly, like that was ridiculous. Minotaurs are an instant run, like
most of the
90% of the time.
Either that, or they just decide to be dumb.
Thank you for that preemptive. That would have been a full poison party on my entire party, basically.
So as Jasper is about to hit the next floor again, he's gonna make us yet another safety save. Just, you know, in case of that cockatrice encounter we mentioned.
I'll probably hit it on this way over. I usually get it once or twice. Yeah. Wraiths are also fun. Okay, so my commentary ran out, so I guess I'm on my own here. Let's see, can I entertain you somehow? I don't have party tricks, unfortunately. Sing a song. No, I'm not going to ruin Twitch chat for you. I like my chat experience the bland way it is. Oh, hello, cockatrices. And that's why we got gold needles. There's one. So, anybody, yeah, I was about to. Anybody that's considered as stone is considered as dead. Donations can go whatever. Donations can go whenever. Like,
Okay, Dover.
go.
Just let me know if the audio is good. Do check.
What? Please?
So yeah, sorry for dropping out there real quick. Figured I'd help out the tech crew just for a second there, since I've been doing donations all day, so...
Fair enough.
You know, I'm the only one that actually seems to know how they work at this
Our
point.
donation tracker is interesting.
Yeah, that's,
Let me say
that's
that much.
definitely a thing. But yeah, those were... Yeah, the cockatrices, that's exactly why we got those gold needles. They can be a very dangerous thing. I guess we have a donation, time for, you know, one of the donations at this point, because I think we got 2 just now, didn't we?
They can go for both.
We're about to hit Lich, that's always an interesting
It'll
bit.
run out before the Lich. Go.
Okay, we have 2 donations. Our first donation by totally not Saito of $5.76. I am the shadow that donates in the nights. I'm the annoying after comma digit that you now have to calculate with. I am Saitoing Duck. P.S. Greeting to everyone enjoying BSG. PSS. I want to use this to advise Dutch snacks. They are amazing. And we have a donation by Dutch J of $5.76. I'll let someone else get the $200 milestone, putting this towards the boy for Crystal, because not role-playing as yourself in Pokemon is a sin.
Nice, thank you both Saito and Dutch. So yeah, that just brought us over the 200 mark, so thank you everybody. So yeah, as we got there, we just hit what is probably the hardest boss of the game. That may not have looked it, but that is actually the most deadly boss in the game. So the Lich encounters, Jasper saved right before the fight because Lich has a move called Blizzara, which if he happens to use it, pretty much instantly wipes your entire party. Usually you should be faster, but if he happens to outspeed it, he has about a 50% chance to use it. So it's about a 10 to 15% chance, maybe a bit less, but roughly that, for him to actually wipe the entire party. But with Lich down, we're gonna get to see the purification of the first of the crystals, the Earth Crystal, as well as the opening of the Earth Gift Shrine, which is the first of the bonus dungeons.
Okay. I'm not gonna worry about what's happening behind me right now. Oh, that might have messed up my mic.
Check the mics. So yeah, with that being said, now we can actually progress through the game, because with the first crystal down, we can pretty much do anything in whatever order we like. Next up, we're gonna go get the canoe, which is the next key item in the game. And the canoe opens up about 3 options for us. At that point, we can go to Mount Gulg and get the Fire Crystal. We can go to Cavern of Ice and get the Levistone, which is going to get us the airship. Or we could go to Citadel of Trials and go get the Rat's Tail so we can get a class upgrade later. We'll be doing all 3 of those, but we're first going to get the Levistone so that we can get the airship. There's 2 main advantages to the airship. First of all, you do not get encounters when you're in the sky. And more importantly, it moves really, really fast. So, you know, seems like a suiting option to go for first. Now, the thing is, though, we need to get the Cavern of Ice, and we're kind of under-leveled for that, and a lot of stuff can kill us there. I guess I'll explain that by the time we get there.
Yeah, we're only slightly doing this the wrong way.
So yeah, originally the game intends you to go for the Fire Crystal next, but we figure, you know, there's a faster way to do it. Getting the Fire Crystal would mean a lot of canoeing around and a lot of encounters at that point. So, you know, we want to try to just avoid that in general if we can. And we can park the airship right in front of Mount Gulg as well. Now, we could just do any of the next crystals in whatever order we want. We can go for air, water, or fire. Air would require us to go into the water dungeon, but we could do air first if we wanted to.
Where is my...
1 lower.
What? No, the...
Yeah, there.
Oh, there we go. So
we're gonna get some ethers. That'll just help us with our MP later on in the run.
Do I go safety strats or no? Wait.
Well, I mean, you need to get this to begin with. I would recommend it. It is a marathon after all.
Fair enough.
So yeah, he just got the Mithril Axe, and what the Mithril Axe does is that it allows us to get the Black Garbs, which ups our agility by another 5 per item, to get us a total of 10 per item per character. So, you know, it's 30 extra agility on just regular stuff on each of the characters.
You might need me on the other formation swap because I don't know this safety strat. I never use it. I literally just skip out on it on every run I do, even marathon runs.
The only
usually.
difference is that you have to swap both of the mages back later on.
Yeah, I forgot where though, because
just before
I never
Survival
use
Fest.
it. Hello, nice pathing.
So yeah, these are the 12 sages, and they will tell you a lot about the lore of the land, so to speak. But we only care for this one, who just gives us the canoe because we've beaten the Lich and purified the Crystal of Earth. So yeah, with that, we're going to move on to Cavern of Ice, which is the next of the dungeons that we're going to do. Interestingly enough, in the glitchless runs, we would actually go to Citadel of Trials first, because it has some weapons that makes ice a bit easier on us. But since we don't really need those weapons at this point, we might as well just go for ice right away. Now, ice is also, in terms of just being able to complete the game, probably one of the first major walls in the game. There are a lot of things that can kill us in the next dungeon, and I'll just give you a brief summary of what can happen. So there's a 1 in 64 encounter in this next dungeon, the White Dragon, which, if you encounter it, he is Ice Storm, which can pretty much wipe our party instantly. There are Dark Wizards, which have Faraga, which, I mean, our mages might live at this point, but if 4 of those ambush you, you're usually just dead. It's a 3 in 64 encounter, so it becomes a little bit more likely as well. There are Mind Flyers, which is a 6 in 64 encounter, which can paralock the party in 1 hit, and can kill on hit as well, so, you know, that can be incredibly bad for us. There are Cockatrices, which can petrify, as we mentioned before. And then if that wasn't enough, pretty much every other remaining encounter is either unrunnable or can paralyze us. So this is a rough dungeon. So yeah, here's the Pisco Demons, which are unrunnable.
Wow, my HP is just low enough actually. I didn't get hit too much.
Nah, but this should work.
Yeah, 75 is basically the cutoff point.
Plus, you're gonna drop like another 6 on the spiked tiles.
Oh yeah, fair.
So that puts you under 70, which is definitely in a good zone.
Pro tip for anybody talking in chat about donating euros, it'll convert it for you because it's PayPal. So there's no excuse for not donating.
These are Wraiths and Spectres, and these guys can paralyze you on hit. Not to mention they're kind of hard to run from, so yay. So yeah, even with the agility that we have, they are still a pain to deal with.
Next turn I'm just gonna throw staff at them. Okay. See, threatening them usually works. Hello,
There's
Dark Wizard.
The 3 in 64
Hello?
Dark Wizard. Usually Dark Wizards are preemptive, but on rare occasions they can be an ambush as well. Now, there is a really interesting chest up here, because there's one chest that just has clothes in it, which is protected by Dark Wizards. It's fun stuff.
You have been noticed, Lagpoo. You will not go unnoticed.
Okay, that is an interesting encounter. So yeah, the tile that Jasper just stepped on is considered a spiked tile, meaning it's guaranteed to give an encounter. Now, usually you'll see 9 of them, so just seeing the 1 is interesting.
It's basically anywhere between 7 and 9, and that's about 99% of those encounters.
Yeah, so seeing 1 is incredibly rare. I think I've seen it like twice in all the years, in like the year that I've been speedrunning it now.
That's the first time I've ever seen it. And I need to not forget to go down here and not use the stairs. Hello.
So
Nice
yeah,
crit.
every
point
runner that runs this game for the first time will go up here and take the stairs, which pretty much just leaves the cave.
I was about to.
That's, yeah, that loses a lot of time. So yeah, we're going in here, and on the next tile we'll find the Evil Eye, which is the next mini boss of the game, and also the thing we'll be grinding on. Before we do though, we're gonna get a couple quick.
First turn? Ah,
Yeah.
almost.
We'll get a couple of our characters killed off, just so that the grinding becomes a little bit faster.
Second turn, not too
Second turn, Thundara is pretty good. So yeah, after the fight, he'll heal up the 2 remaining mages, just in case he gets Thundara'd again, and he'll pick up the Levy Stone, which is what we actually came here for. Now, the reason we need grinding is not so much the fact that we need levels.
bad. I forgot to check my levels, actually.
12 on both.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You might want to just get the stone, get that out of the way.
I'm fine. 13, both.
So yeah, the reason we need that on both of these characters is that we kind of want to buy some spells. Specifically, we want to get Healara, which is going to help us heal on the final boss, and we want to get Teleport, which is going to skip some parts of dungeons later on. But in order to get those, both of our characters need to hit level 19. So we're going to grind them up to level 18.5, and then over the course of the next dungeon, they'll eventually get to level 19.
16. This probably won't level. Oh, 17. Then this one won't.
Yeah.
What?
You might want to... Okay, that's interesting.
That should be 8. Oh, okay, I miscounted. Whatever.
Just 2 more fights and then we're done.
I guess they were 11 instead of 12 then.
They may have been. Now, don't actually forget the Levy Stone.
I won't, but I'm used to doing this.
Plenty of runners have forgotten the Levy Stone, so in general, we recommend to pick it up before doing the grind, because that way it's easier.
Yeah.
It's less likely to forget. Earlier this week, I was actually doing a bingo against Zelnas, who's another runner of this game, and because he usually picks it up afterwards, he forgot the Levy Stone because he didn't actually do any grinding. Which basically loses you like anywhere between 2 and 4 minutes, depending on where you were. It's just a huge time sink in if it happens. So yeah, this is the more likely way
Second
you'll
time
find
running.
the encounter.
Gonna
Just
call
get
it.
9 of them.
Oh, okay.
That was still a very quick run though, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was expecting the second one to actually run properly. Hello, Bloodbones. Goodbye.
Nice one step there. The Bloodbone's chasing you.
They came to get their revenge. Oh, that's Dark Wizard coming in. Oh, hello. That one, for some reason, I basically get a Dark Wizard encounter there like 80% of the time for some reason.
So yeah, again, this is one of those
Please.
points where the gold needles will really come in handy.
There we go.
So yeah, and there we go. That's Cavern of Ice done, and with that, probably the most dangerous dungeon in the game out of the way.
I probably don't want to know, but I'm wondering about time.
48 flat.
That's not even bad.
It's not
So
terrible. It's nothing.
50 airship is not terrible
it's
for
very
marathons.
average. It's a
I
very
think I got a
average,
47 airship in my PB, so
yeah,
it's not even
about a
bad.
48-minute leaving ice is a very average time. So definitely a good start for a marathon run.
We're not doing bad. I expected to be doing way worse, honestly.
Yeah, you had a couple rough encounters,
Yeah.
but that ice was actually pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, it felt rough, but I mean, it's usually the little things that really bother you, and then the big things actually go right, but you don't notice.
So yeah, now that we have the Levy Stone, we're going to head to the Ryokan
How about
Desert.
now?
And once we actually hit the Ryokan Desert, we'll
Thank
be
you for
able to
that
use that Levy Stone to get the airship. Now, there's no actual dock here, but you can park in the canal there as well. Just get in there and go towards the desert.
I mean, you can always drop your canoe off your boat. Works fine.
Yeah, definitely. Casually, if you don't know that you can actually do that, you'd have to sail all the way around it from Crescent Lake. It is actually possible to do that, but it takes quite a lot of time.
I mean, have fun. Nice typing.
Yeah, typing on mobile is hard. Typing on mobile is very, very hard.
I forgot where I'm going.
Left.
Yeah, left. I was gonna say, like...
A little bit. No, up. There.
Oh,
There. South.
screw it. It's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it's there. Thank you.
Nice airship right there.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the most tricky airship segments in the game because you don't have a lot of visual cues as to where to go.
It really isn't if you're not tired.
But yeah, basically what we're going to do next, we could just go for the fire dungeon and get the second crystal, but we might as well get all of that side questing out of the way. So first off, we're going to go to the Citadel of Trials, and we're going to get the Rat's Tail. It's about time we did our class upgrade.
Not just a rat's tail, though. I mean, might
there's-
as well do some more setup for the chaos fight because
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
kind of scary. I mean, it is chaos.
That's true, and I heard there are some good items in here.
And we can turn them into some good items if
Very, very
if
true.
we polish them properly. I mean, some good care, tender love, and everything. We can turn them into some pretty good items.
So yeah, basically for this dungeon specifically,
Go left.
Back when
Or
we
down.
did this, back when in the very old route, like it's been over a year since we started doing this at this point. But back when we did the old route, we actually skipped this dungeon entirely. What we used to do is we used to grind the White Mage to level 33, which would get us Hilaga, which would usually be enough healing for the final boss. Then, when we routed out all bosses, which is a different category of this game, we figured, hey, we probably should do some class upgrades. Now, this added two bonuses. First of all, in this dungeon, we'll be able to find the healing staff, which skips most of that grinding.
Oh, hello. Screw you.
The healing staff
killing
allows us
those.
to get a lot more magic, meaning that instead of needing Hilaga, which requires level 33, we can get Hilara, which only requires level 19.
That Phoenix down drop, though.
Yeah. Now, if that wasn't enough, the class upgrade itself allows us
should've
to
killed
get
it.
teleport if we have a Black Mage of level 19. Getting just that, we'll be able to skip about 3 to 4 minutes, I want to say, later on in the run, kind of depending on the luck.
Should have killed that nightmare. I got lucky running it from
Yeah.
it the first turn.
Yeah, it's fine. You got away with it.
Fair enough.
Gotta
but
go. Gotta
that-
take the risk, dude.
that was bad. That was an unnecessary risk. Correct.
So yeah,
quite a
now,
bit to go.
before we leave, we're gonna get the gauntlet down here, and what that changes into is the golden staff, which is gonna give us just that extra little bit of healing power for the final boss fight. It's literally only used for one fight, but for that particular fight, it's very useful.
Don't forget the rat still.
So yeah, last but not least, we're gonna get the Rat's Tail here, which is gonna actually get us that class upgrade. So all in all, this skips about 7 to 8 minutes in terms of grinding, and then another 3 minutes in terms of dungeons, at the cost of about 8 minutes to do the dungeon itself. So all in all, it's quite worth it to do this. So what? With that, we're leaving back to the airship, and it's time to get our class upgrade.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, the rat's tail. It's quite an interesting surprise because we got sent into that dungeon there to find whatever it was we needed to find without any description whatsoever. Just something to prove that we were the heroes that we need to be.
So yeah, since we have now with this proven just that, it doesn't really matter what it is. Like, we know that we're the heroes, so even though it's the tail of a rat, that will prove the fact that we're worth it.
It also proves that that dragon is really just hungry.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I wouldn't really know what else you could ever do with a rat's tail, but sure.
Eat it, eat it.
So yeah, let's actually just go get that class up right away, shall we? Might as well.
Yep. Wow, that I just tried that lineup, and that actually worked properly. Good job. I had no idea if that was going to work. I was guessing it wouldn't have been too low, but I had no idea.
So yeah, this giant cave is really not much. There's really not much in there. This is the layer of Bahamut. And Bahamut, he's gonna give us that class upgrade that we needed. So yeah, a bit of a cutscene here. This takes a little while, but from this point on, our warrior will be a knight, our thief will turn into a ninja, our black mage into a black wizard, and our white mage into a white wizard. Now, this does give everybody a couple additional bonuses. Both of the wizards can learn a couple additional spells. The warrior, if leveled enough, can get basic white magic, and the thief can get basic black magic. But more importantly, they also get a couple stat upgrades. Basically, the only thing we really need are those stats, and the fact that the black mage can learn teleport, which is one of the additional spells he gets here.
This one's right and up, if I recall correctly.
Left.
God damn it, left and down.
So yeah, we're gonna make another
I'm
stop
bad.
in Melmond here, and that's to get 2 spells. We're gonna get Healara, which is gonna be our heal spell for the game, and we're gonna get Teleport, which is that warping spell that I've been talking about for the past 10 minutes or so. And with that, we're going to move towards Elfheim, which we visited earlier on in the run. Down. Might as well. So yeah, we're gonna quickly go grab Haste over here. Haste isn't too important a spell. We won't actually be using it with the exception of 2 fights near the end. Basically what Haste does is because it doubles the amount of hits we deal every turn, it basically just doubles our attack. And since we're already dealing a huge amount, that'll be quite helpful for the final boss. And with that, it's time to move on to the next dungeon. Heal up and save?
Yeah, I was
I
about to.
guess. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting dungeon in that on every single lava tile you take, you can't actually get an encounter. So we'll be taking a lot of damage over the course of the run. It's kind of like that Etrian Odyssey run that we saw earlier, where, you know, encounters aren't as likely on lava tiles. Difference being that in this game, they don't actually spawn at all.
What?
The risk that comes with it, however, is that some encounters have AoE attacks like Blaze, which can really mess you up if everybody's at low health. So yeah, most of the runners will always, or you'll see every runner basically heal a lot over the course of the dungeon, and for a marathon it is optional to also just save here.
I'll heal after this stairs.
This particular dungeon is also really... It's down, dude.
Is it? What the hell
It's
am
down,
I doing?
you're going the wrong way.
Somebody should get me a Coke, because I'm literally falling asleep. Like, what the hell am I doing? What? That's not where I wanted to go. What the heck? Okay. That should be correct.
Yeah, this is correct. Otherwise I would have said something. I got you covered, buddy.
I'm sleeping so hard, dude. My
So yeah,
health
with that out
should
of the
be
way-
good enough.
Yeah, you might want to heal before Merilith, just in case
Really?
of Faraga.
That really didn't achieve much,
So
honestly.
yeah, with all that out of the way, we're getting into the second crystal of the game, and considering we're almost an hour into the game, it's about time we started doing that second crystal. Generally, for a marathon, you're looking for about a 1 hour Merilith, so we're hitting that very nicely.
Even with me resident sleeping.
So even though we're like roughly an hour into the game and we don't have that much time left, and still need to do 2 crystals. From this point on, it's basically a rush for the remaining crystals. So yeah, we're going to get to see the second of the bonus dungeons unlocked, which is Hellfire Chasm. Now, this dungeon in particular is kind of interesting in that it has the Final Fantasy IV bosses in it, all of the 4 elemental archfiends. It's a really cool dungeon to play through casually, as well as for the all bosses and all dungeons run.
What? No, I actually grabbed my phone. Because the cutscene is playing. I have nothing to do while the cutscene is playing.
So yeah, with that out of the way, we're gonna go get the Fairies bottle. Basically, next up we're gonna do the Water Dungeon, which is technically also the 3rd one in the order that we should do them according to the game. But in order to get into a water dungeon, we need to somehow be able to breathe underwater, because, you know, that kind of makes sense if you try to get underwater. So we're going to get the Fairies bottle, as well as a couple Giant's tonics. The Giant's tonics are mainly just for the final boss, and the Fairies bottle is to get the Oxy Ale, which is going to allow us to breathe underwater later. So yeah, with that, we're going off to Gaia, which is where we're going to see the fairy get unlocked. In the PSX and NES version of the game, you actually have to manually unlock the fairy here. The game gives you no cue whatsoever that you need to do that, unless I think one of the NPCs somewhere mentions that you do something like that. But yeah, we go all the way around here. I'm going to talk to the fairy, and as a reward for freeing her, we're going to get the Oxy Ale, which is going to allow us to breathe underwater. So yeah, that's the Oxy Ale out of the way, and we're going to quickly teleport out of here. So it's technically not faster to teleport compared to walking out, because the exit is right, it's just right of us. But teleporting there just sets up the menu for later, because we're going to have to do another teleportation real quick. And with that, we're moving on to the Water Dungeon, which contains the 3rd of the crystals. Now, the next key item in the run is usually what counts as the next benchmark for whether or not you'll be on a really good pace. So we're about to go get the Rosetta Stone, which is the next key item he'll get in the Water Dungeon. And generally, for a world record pace run, you kind of want to get that under an hour. The current console record actually gets it at a 59:59, so it really marks a pretty decent benchmark as to what kind of pace you're on.
What time am I even on?
103.
Fair enough. So that's like a 105:30. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
something like that. It's like 135, 136 pace, I want to say.
Oh yeah, no, I meant the Rosetta Stone.
So yeah, this barrel is really interesting. You actually have to go up to say yes, and this is one of the only versions where you have to do that. Another cutscene that we can only skip in PSP, and we're moving on to what is my personal favorite dungeon of the game, although by most runners the most hated dungeon in the game.
I don't like it.
Because it has the highest amount of unrunnable encounters in the game.
It's just annoying.
Yeah, so this dungeon has a lot more unrunnable encounters than any other dungeon. There is the Sahagan Prince and Chief combo.
Oh.
There's the ghosts, and there is water elementals. Although the water elementals are kind of an exception when they're tied with water nagas, in which case they suddenly do again become runnable. But that only happens on floor 3.
Yeah, don't try to run from ghosts. They will chase you for life.
Yeah, the ghosts will not actually let you run, like, ever. So yes, the Sahagan Prince and Chief encounter, basically what we do here is that we use the Judgment Staff. It's up. This is why you sort. This is why I sort my inventory personally, but it's kind of runner preference as to whether you do that or not.
I sorted it once and that messed me up. Normally it's always in the same place. I'm not used to sorting it. That's my main problem.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, the Sahagan Prince and Chief combo is a bit of a weird encounter in that the only way you can actually kill them in one hit is by using either the Black Mage or the White Mage. So this floor doesn't actually have any encounters, so we can enjoy the music for a little bit, which is one of the best soundtracks in the game, honestly. And we're gonna get the Rosetta Stone. Basically, the Rosetta Stone, for most runners, mark at about half... From this point on, it should be about half an hour.
Where's
You
my
used
magic?
antidotes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this is what we need to teleport for again. And we're going to go back to the 3rd floor, after which we're going to go the other way into the dungeon to get the Kraken, which unlocks the 3rd of the crystals.
Nice movement. I am spaghettiing so much. Oh, okay. I'm spaghettiing so much. It's insane.
So yeah, personally, this is for every new runner of this game gets lost in this dungeon at least a couple times. Layout-wise, it's one of the hardest dungeons in the game.
It's mostly because the maps are kind of bad.
Yeah, the maps are really awkward
Like,
here.
they're really hard to read if you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
The descriptions that come with them aren't the greatest either.
The upside, however, is if you know how to do this dungeon properly, it's just a really sweet dungeon to go through. I personally find it one of the most relaxing dungeons, but I know a lot of runners will disagree with me.
This crap is just why I hate this.
Yeah, I figured. That's why most runners hate this.
I think Flying Fortress is probably my most relaxing one, because that's just calm down, do your stuff, and you're almost done with the game anyway.
Yeah, you can just
might as well, yeah.
Nature skill this. So yeah, we're about to come up on the next menu of the game, which is one of the last ones, as well as probably the biggest one in the game.
It's the most annoying one.
So in a little bit, we'll be getting the Light Axe, which gives us
Actually, this is a formation change one, right?
Come again?
Formation change first?
Yeah, formation change first. But yeah, that just got us the Light Axe, and the Light Axe, what that does is basically it's going to give us the Survival Vests, which, much like what we've had before, will up our agility even further. The Survival Vests give us an added 5 agility per vest, so now we've got a total of 45 added agility per character. Now, we are doing one character differently, in that we're going to go Lordly Robes on the White Mage. The Lordly Robes will increase her magic by a good amount, so we want to get that out of the way real quick. You may also notice that Jasper took that chest from the right. Now, that was not an accident right there. He actually did that on purpose. The reason we do that is because every other tile next to the chest will spawn an encounter guaranteed, and that tile doesn't. So we take 2 extra tiles of movement to skip an encounter.
I also didn't equip the Lordly Robes on the White Mage because in the end of the game you need to unequip her middle slot anyway, and the Black Orbs give you that little bit more running power anyway, so...
Yeah. So the reason we don't equip Lordly Robes on armor is that if it's on armor, you actually get a regen animation at the end of every single turn.
Oh, really? So that's why.
Yeah, that's why we don't do it. We actually do use that for all bosses and full bestiary to get just that extra bit of healing. Basically, you heal 10% of your total health at the end of every turn, which, you know, it's nice and all, but all the extra animations do waste quite a bit of time. So this is the Kraken, which is the 3rd major boss of the game.
Also, Hold Egg Simulator.
Yeah, that was the Kraken, the 3rd major boss of the game.
Okay.
With that, we're seeing the third of the bonus dungeons unlocked. This time a bonus dungeon with the Final Fantasy V bosses in it.
Wait,
It's also the
that
only
was
bonus
supposed
dungeon
to work.
not easily reachable by ship. Or by airship, I mean.
How did that not work?
Now, before we're going to the next dungeon, we actually need to do a couple side quests to actually enter it.
There's
So,
two games in the game, two bosses in the game where you need to strat.
well,
Because the boss right before Kraken needs a haste.
well,
If you want to do it fast.
if you want to do it fast, but it doesn't really require a strat.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we're going on to the Waterfall Cave, and the reason we do Waterfall Cave next is because we need to get the Warp Cube here. Basically, what the Warp Cube does is it gets you, or it enables you to go from Mirage Tower into the Flying Fortress where the Air Crystal is. The reason that Jasper took that safety save, it's actually incredibly rare to die here, but there is a Pyrolisk encounter here which can cast an instant death move. That's the encounter I was talking about. It's insanely rare for it to kill you. I don't think it's ever happened before,
Nope.
but since it's a marathon...
I never take that save, but for now, because the game has been screwing me over that much, I'm just not gonna bet on it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those safety saves that you'll very rarely take, but just to make sure that nothing weird happens, you know, considering it is a marathon and all that, you might as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take the chance right now. This game has been so dumb to me today. Hello, force encounter. I don't want to deal with you. Please go away.
So
Thank
yeah, the
you.
robot will give us the warp cube, and that gets that out of the way. But before we leave, we're going to get the second chest here, which has the ribbon in it. The ribbon is the before last item we're actually going to be using in the game. After this, there's only one menu left. So yeah, this ribbon, basically what you may have noticed up to this point is that we didn't actually equip anything onto the
What the?
onto the shield slots.
Whoa.
The reason we didn't equip anything on shield is because most of the items, if it tries to call up for the shield animation, you'll crash the game basically.
Actually.
But however, lucky for us, the ribbon actually works.
What the hell am I doing?
Thief to...
Yeah, I was gonna say. What am I doing wrong?
There you go. But yeah, the ribbon actually does call up an existing animation, so when used in battle, it doesn't actually crash the game. Now, the ribbon itself is a really useful item in that it blocks every single status effect in the game, as well as gives us a 50% resistance to any elemental magic damage. This both makes the final boss a lot easier because moves like Blizzaga and Earthquake won't actually be able to do anything, and a lot of regular encounters won't really be able to hurt us as much anymore. With that, we're gonna go south real quick one more time to go to Melmond, because we actually need to learn Lefinian to get the chime. So in order to get to the air crystal, we need to go through Mirage Tower.
You're forgetting
Mirage-
about the longest walk in the game.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
It's supposed
But
to
yeah,
be
in
earlier.
order to get there, you need to get through Mirage Tower, and the only way to enter it is by having the chime. Now, at the top of Mirage Tower, you can use the warp cube to actually enter the air dungeon. Now, you may have noticed earlier that we tend to park our ship only on plains, and that's because that's the only spot we can park on. For Citadel, this meant we had to park quite far away, but just you wait until this next place. It's interesting, I'll say that much.
Yay!
So yeah, we'll be passing over the city that we need in just a minute with our airship. I just want to give you guys an idea of how far off we are. So that's
Right
the city.
there.
You may have missed it because it was just off screen there. And this is where we'll park. You'll see what kind of walk he's going to have to take here.
Oh, by the way, if you liked Forest, Oh, hello, troll zombies. So Minotaur zombies are unrunnable. That's what I'm trying to fight here. And the Minotaur zombies are very nice in the fact that they usually come with trolls. Just to prove that they're actually trying to troll you. I mean, why not, right?
Exactly.
It's about to come up. I can bet you.
So yeah, with that being done, yeah, these Minotaur zombies can make quite the difference here. They are very annoying at
I
that.
get 4 at least every run. Like 4 different encounters with Minotaur
Yeah, in
zombies.
my current PB run, I got like 2 encounters on the way here, and I blew it that split by like half a minute all of a sudden.
Yup. Sounds about right. Nice drop. Here it comes.
It's just one this time at least.
Still in a full encounter. I mean,
So yeah, this is the city we actually need to go to. Minotaur zombies all over the place today.
not even Minotaur zombie troll, just straight up Minotaur. Enjoyable. This is why you don't run this game. RNG, the game, the simulator.
So yeah, this town is notorious for the NPCs. This town sums up why we hate
Hello.
NPCs quite well.
Hello. Good job.
Now, back before we had teleport, we actually had to walk out of this town as well, and that can take quite a couple seconds if those NPCs get in your way. But yeah, that gets the chime out of the way, and with that we can enter the Mirage Tower and finally go for the final crystal.
By the way, I hope you guys liked Minotaur zombies, because we're about to meet another, at least 3 of them. Here's the first one. Hilgigus, hello.
Hilgigus is definitely the better encounter here.
Close enough, though. They're also green and trolly.
True.
There it is. Just need 2 more.
So yeah, interestingly enough, in this next little bit that he's going to walk through, the last bit before the airship, as well as the desert which he has to go through, there is a natural 1 in 64 encounter, the Tyrannosaurus. It's actually very, very rare to see that. I think I've only seen it a few times in a run. In full bestiary, this is one of the hardest encounters to go for. But yeah, it's time to go through Mirage Tower. So the Mirage Tower itself is actually a really easy dungeon, in that you pretty much get to see the stairs right off the bat. The only problem is, the encounter rate here is actually quite high, so it's kind of annoying to go through this.
Please. Guardians.
So if you look next to that robot you saw over there, you'll probably already see the stairs. That's where we need to go. Unfortunately, we can't just go through the wall here. That would make this quite convenient, actually.
If we could go through walls, a lot more things would become a lot more convenient.
This is very true.
How about a teleporter
But
maze?
yeah, there you go. That was this. Right there are the stairs. That's where we'll be going to.
Yeah, I kind of don't want to hear the battle theme at all. Unless I really need to, but yeah, unfortunately it shows up a lot.
So yeah, we're about to fight the mighty Blue Dragon. So normally in this dungeon, the Blue Dragon is a 1 in 64 encounter, but it also shows up on this specific tile, where we'll always be forced to fight one.
And it's gone. Whoopsie. Just killed a really rare species of dragon. My bad.
So with that, we're moving on to the Flying Fortress.
This is
Time
my
to get the
relaxing
last,
dungeon.
The last crystal dungeon in the game, after which we just have the final dungeon left.
Air elementals actually have the same thing with water elementals, where they... actually, air are always
elementals
runnable.
are
Yeah.
runnable.
Whoops.
Air elementals are just very hard to run from. There is an unrunnable here, though, being the Evil Eye encounter.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And there is probably the most hype encounter in the game as well, but he's only on the 5th floor. So, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a job right there in chat. We're about to come up on the 5th floor, and on the 5th floor, there is a 1 in 64 encounter called the War Mech. Now this encounter is the most dangerous encounter that we can find here, but if we kill it, we get 33,000 experience and gil. It's a huge amount of experience. However, I don't think it's ever been seen in a marathon yet.
I've never met it in any of my runs ever.
I've seen it once, particularly during a full bestiary run where I happened to actually coincidentally get it here, which is not normally where you'd get it. So yeah, if we happen to find it, Jasper will be saving at the start of the floor just in case, because that encounter can very easily kill you. But yeah, you might also want to just throw up a couple of heals here.
I'll do it at the end of the hallway.
But yeah, if we happen to see it, spam some War Mech for us in chat.
This hard decision because of Mind Flayers. That's why I was worried.
But you just saved. Like, if they decide to be dumb...
Wait, doesn't a ribbon actually save you from these?
No, not from Mind Flyers, because they're non-elemental.
There's the War Mech. Okay.
Unfortunately.
He can actually hit you while you're walking out after the boss. So.
So yeah, with that, we're heading for the 4th and last of the crystals. So this is Tiamat. He protects the air crystal. So let's go quickly get him out of the way, shall we? So we can actually move to the final dungeon.
Hard boss, man. Oh, he did an attack.
2 damage.
Whoa.
That could have been scary right there.
So yeah, hold X some more and then.
So yeah, that is Tiamat out of the way, and with that we've got 4 dungeons down, 1 to go. Or 4 crystals down and 1 dungeon to go, really. We're also going to get to see the 4th of the bonus dungeons and the last one in most versions, but not this one, get unlocked. This is the Whisperwind Cove. Now, I kind of want to give you guys just a bit of an idea of what these dungeons are about. So, Whisperwind Cove in particular is a dungeon with 40 different floors, all in random order. So, on each 10th floor, so floors 10, 20, 30, and 40, you can actually find a boss of the Final Fantasy VI game as the bonus bosses there, so to speak.
That's
so yeah, all in all, a very interesting dungeon. Definitely worth going through casually. There's a ton of really cool
There's the
floors
encounter.
There.
Okay.
Yeah, Black Flans. Black Flans are fairly rare too. I think that's a 3 in 64.
I have no idea. I've seen those before. Maybe not up here, but...
Yeah, I think Black Flans are a fairly rare encounter there.
Yeah, I
But
totally...
with this, we're going to move on to the final dungeon, which is the Chaos Shrine.
That should be good enough.
And you guys may remember this, because we actually were here at the start of the game already. Remember this place where we fought Garland about 3 minutes into the game?
Hey,
Yeah,
Garland.
we're going to go back here. So we're going to see this guy walk over here, and he's going to unlock the Labyrinth of Time. Now, the Labyrinth of Time is the last of the bonus dungeons for the PSP version. So we're gonna get to the crystal here. See that get unlocked, and with that, we're able to finally enter the final dungeon. We're traveling 2,000 years into the past to stop chaos right at the start.
Not too bad, actually. 10 minutes.
123. It should be like a 135. Unless you die somewhere, which let's hope that doesn't happen. So yeah, this particular floor is actually quite a dangerous floor because of these white dragons. It's kind of runner preference whether you want to run from them or not. If you don't, unless they ambush you, they shouldn't ever kill you. If you do, they have a small chance, but running is very consistent with that.
Marathon safety.
Yeah, fair.
Do.
You need to use ethers first.
Yeah. Where's my ethers?
Down. Second. It's always second if you sort it.
Should be good enough. Not gonna mess with it more.
So yeah, the White Dragons here are
Screw
always
this.
a bit of an interesting encounter. It's always kind of a risk trying to run from them. Not that much, honestly, but it is kind of a risk. Yet it is faster to do just that.
Whoa.
White Mage only judgment.
Where's
Down.
the... There it is. Yeah, I was
So
about
the
to
reason we
do
use
what
the
mage
White
only.
Mage only on this one is that the Black Mage, because he doesn't have those robes like the White Mage does, her magic is actually not, or his magic would actually not be sufficient to kill this enemy. The Ice Gigases would be a range, and a very rare one at that.
Nice misstep again.
Black Knights is fine, and with that we're going to move on to the next, I'll call it mini-boss, and the last one at that. So this is the Death Eye. Death Eye actually has very little health. He has less health than most other bosses in the game, but he has insane defenses, so normally you wouldn't be able to easily beat him.
So, if anybody stuck around through the entire run here, remember that loot that I mentioned in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game? This is where you use that.
Yeah, so
The game doesn't tell you if you're playing on the NES or anything, and it doesn't call you back either.
If you're playing this on the original version, the NES version, this would be the point where most people would get stuck. If you did not get the loot from the princess, you cannot progress past this point. And I think there's like one NPC in the entire game that says something about that loot. You may want to heal just for safety.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. It's the best encounter I've ever gotten on past Chaos Shrine floor 3. Honestly.
This is runnable.
Yeah, I know.
So this is an interesting runnable encounter. The Dragon Zombie itself is actually not runnable, but because it's tied with a Vampire Lord, you can run away from it just fine.
White. Oh, purple worm. Not runnable, by the way. Just.
Yeah, so the purple worm.
It's not scary, but it's not runnable.
The purple worm can also drop an emergency exit, which casually is actually really nice. In case you just took too much damage and you don't think you're gonna make it, you can use that to just instantly get out.
I'm not gonna. I
Nah,
didn't
you
save
might as
anywhere
well.
in Chaos, so.
You might want to just safety save for Lich, because your health is
B-
kind of on the low end.
before Lich, I'm gonna save, but
Yeah, beyond.
like right
that
before
point.
his style. Before that, I don't save in Chaos ever.
If you heal on this floor, you should be fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Bit of a risk, but it worked
We're
out
fine.
nicely.
We're fine.
So yeah, now that we've actually reached the bottom floors of the Chaos' Shrine, we're gonna get into the refights. Each of those major bosses that we've seen that protected a crystal, we're gonna fight them again, and we're gonna actually get an upgraded version of them that is quite a bit more difficult.
Oh, our filamentals are not runnable.
So the first one is Lich 2, and much like Lich 1 had Blazara, which was able to kill us then. Lich 2 has Flare, which is the strongest black magic spell in the game, and with that, he becomes quite a bit more dangerous. Using Flare, if not on full health, everybody will die, probably. On full health, the Thief and Black Mage are pretty much guaranteed to die, and the White Mage and Warrior usually live. Other than that, it's just hold X and hope you attack 4 times before he does anything.
We're done.
Or he uses a regular attack, which also works out, and that's Lich 2 out of the way.
So incoming is the shortest floor in the entire Chaos Shrine. Except for floor 2, I guess.
So yeah, this is the Merilith floor. This is where we're gonna fight the Fire Crystal boss once again.
Fire lizards, please.
Now there is an unrunnable on this floor, but it's very, very rare. You hardly ever see it.
I've seen fire elementals like twice.
Yeah. I've not seen them very often either. They're, I think, 1 in 64 or 3 in 64.
Hello, lava worms. Ambush is only on this freaking floor. That's a rare one.
Well, rather this one than the next one, to be honest.
Fair, but what is even going on with any encounters at all on
So
this
yeah, this
floor?
is the Merilith 2 fight. Instead of Fura, she has Faraga, which is quite the upgrade, but because of her ribbons, that still doesn't do a lot. If she does it, you'll generally want to heal after the fight just in case, but it's not really an issue.
Oh, she's a trooper.
Normally she will die in one turn, but if you get kinda low roll, she may take a second turn.
Let's heal up just in case, because marathon. That's a save.
So yeah, this is probably the worst floor that's still remaining. This is the Kraken 2 floor, and water elementals are very common on this floor. The water elementals are probably one of the last, or probably the last unrunnable we'll see. There is an unrunnable on the next floor, but it's a 1 in 64 encounter. Although no, purple worms are there too, never mind. But the water elementals, they're always in big numbers, they're always annoying to deal with. We just generally don't want to see them.
Recreate CSGO. To quickly explain, we used a glitch to try and equip armor into a weapon slot, which basically forced the white mages to actually accept a weapon ID of whatever that sword is into their weapon slot.
So we kinda glitch the most powerful sword in the game onto them, because we can.
And basically, once it's in there, the game doesn't care anymore.
So yeah, the next boss is actually a pretty hard boss in all of the glitchless runs, in that the next boss actually deals a lot of physical damage. But considering we have 3 survival vests on, which you normally only get in bonus dungeons, it's not really an issue.
Hello,
Nara,
Thunder.
again, we have ribbons, so it won't do too much damage. I would recommend healing though, because Tiamat 2 can
I'll
deal quite
do
a
it
bit.
as soon as I get into this floor.
So yeah, that's the third of the refights done. With that, we only have 2 bosses left.
Yep. Also, on the note of the equipment glitch, we'll do one more of those fairly soon.
You might want to not blink though, because that's going to be the fastest one of all of them. So this is the Tiamat 2 fight, and this is the first fight we're actually going to be using a bit of a strat here. So we're using haste on the thief, and that practically
Mage is so
guarantees
slow.
a 2-turn. It can still be a 3-turn if we get very unlucky on our rolls. But if you don't do the haste,
That's not
it's
a
about
bad
a
roll.
50-50
This is fine.
to get that.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that should easily be a 2-turn. There we go. So, just run. And with
Yeah.
that, we're entering the final floor of the game. So this is where we'll be meeting Chaos. We'll be doing one more menu before the fight. That's everyone on full, so that's good.
Gloves.
Gloves to weapon, that's the golden staff. The golden staff you would also normally only get in the bonus dungeon. I think it's also Labyrinth of Time, although I'm not completely sure there. So yeah, we did the, we have...
Get ready on time, by the way.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 2 to 3 minutes depending on the luck. So this is a really interesting fight. Jasper is gonna have to use 1 Giant's Tonic on the Black Mage because he only has 218 health. The Thief has 281, which is generally more than enough.
281 is more than I usually have on a thief.
So yeah, this boss is actually significantly harder than anything we've fought up to this point. This guy has got 20,000 health.
Where's my giant axe? There.
So what we're gonna basically do is we're gonna have our white mage heal up every turn. We're gonna have our black mage use haste on every one of the characters except the white mage. Blizzaga, really good start.
Have you explained, by the way, why our white mage has clothes instead of...
I don't think we have.
No.
So the white mage has got the clothes. Basically, that black garb gave her a lot of agility, and we kind of don't want to have the white mage outspeed outspeed chaos. If we have the black garbs on the white mage for this fight, they'll practically be at a speed tie. So the chaos can get 2 turns in a row, and that can just mean the end of the run right there.
This is kind of bad. This is the start
but
of a
should be
magic
fine.
cycle.
I mean, magic cycle is slow, but you should have more than enough health at this point. Your healing seems good,
I'm
to be
worried
honest.
about the thief, actually. That's going to die on a full magic cycle on 280.
Probably, but you should be fine.
For now, I guess. Yeah, this is a full magic cycle.
Yeah, but you've already done like 8,000 damage at this point. We're
Earthquake coming in next attack. Told you, 280 is usually
Yeah.
the point where he dies.
It's fine though. We've dealt plenty of damage already to make do.
Time is as soon as you hear an explosion, by the way.
Yeah, as soon as Chaos flashes white, that's when time is. So yeah, this is pretty much the worst RNG pattern, getting the full magic cycle back to back. That will kill off the thief here. But
Yep,
considering
he's
we've
dead.
already dealt about 12,000 damage, it's not going to be worth it for us to revive him. And the next one in the cycle is Earthquake anyway.
Yeah,
so-
Earthquake is fine. Earthquake can't actually hit us because of the ribbons.
And we'll still deal a good 3,000 damage a hit.
Should be next turn. Oh, Slowra as well. Wow.
Right. We'll need to rehaste that, I think.
Really?
We're just far. I would. We're just far
Fair
enough
enough.
off that it would be worth it, I feel like. Going off first, so that will definitely make up for it.
Yeah.
That's a good physical. So yeah, a bit of a
Should be
weird
this
fight
turn,
here,
I think.
But yeah, it should be like 1 or 2 turns left.
It should be this one. Come on.
Nope. not
Wow.
yet. That's fine.
Chaos,
though.
please. Get out of here. At least it's within 140.
Time.
There we go, time.
Yeah, 136. A very, very average marathon time, I want to say.
Not too
Definitely
terrible.